It is a great honor for me to enter this town. Generally speaking, when we bought those Walker's crisps, Worcester sauce flavor, we would hear about Worcester town. And also, everyone has handled the £20 note. And apart from the picture of that Shaitana on the front, you flip the note over, there's a picture of a cathedral, which is known as Worcester Cathedral. And one of the kings, when when they toppled the king at one time in the 1600s, Cromwell, and Charles I hid out in the attic, or the cellar, the attic, in the roof of that same church. But now we have these buildings where the Mawlid of the Messenger ﷺ signifies the coming of Tawheed, the oneness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and the abolition of shirk. This is what the Mawlid signifies. And it comes to no surprise that we have the kingdom of the Saudi family, which claims to promote Tawheed, yet they want to demolish the house of the Mawlid of the Messenger ﷺ. And yet they celebrate the birthday of Condoleezza Rice. And they've stayed silent of the birthday of Condoleezza Rice. These are sad facts in the world that we live in today. Our Messenger ﷺ, as narrated by Sayyidina Abu Darda radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, in the Musnad of Imam Ahmad, he said, تركنا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وما من طائر يطير بجناحيه في السماء إلا أخبر لنا له علما. That the Messenger صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم left us, and there was not one bird flapping its wings in the skies except Rasulullah صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم left some knowledge regarding it for us. This hadith has been narrated, al-hadith al-mawquf, meaning it's the saying of a companion of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, by Abu Ya'la in his Musnad, Al-Imam Ahmad in his Musnad, and many others with variant wordings. This Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, who did not leave anything except he gave knowledge regarding it, is the same Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam who stood on the pulpit mimbar, and in Kitab Badi al-Khalq, in the Sahih of Imam Bukhari, you find the hadith, قام فينا رسول الله صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم وخطب خطبة وأخبرنا بما كان وما يكون. That the Messenger صلى الله عليه وآله وسلم stood amongst us, and he delivered a sermon in which he informed us of all those things which have transpired and all those things which will transpire. He sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam gave the exact descriptions of events that will transpire. For instance, in the hadith narrated by Imam Bukhari in his Sahih, سَيَخْرُجُ مِنَ الْحِجَازِ نَارٌ تُضِيءُ بِهَا أَعْنَاقُ الْإِبْلِ بِبُصْرَى. That the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam said, a fire shall emerge from the Hijaz region, such a fire that by the light of that fire, the camels in Busra would shine with the light of that fire. And Busra is not Basra. Basra is a town in Iraq. And Busra is a town in Syria. Now it's Roman ruins. Currently speaking, it's Roman ruins. And at that time it was palaces. And the mother of the Messenger ﷺ mentioned the palaces, Qusur Sham, in the hadith narrated by Ibn Hibban in his Sahih. And the Messenger ﷺ mentioned the formation and the founding of the city of Basra in Iraq also. He ﷺ said, as narrated by Imam Abu Dawud in his Sunan, that a city will be found and people will dwell in this city. And then he ﷺ gave the exact description of the sacking of Basra by the Mongols, by the followers of Genghis Khan. You know, some people name their children Parvez and some people name their children Genghis. They should not name their children after these enemies of Islam. The name Parvez is the name of the enemy of Islam. The same with Genghis. It's like naming your daughter Elizabeth or George, your son. These are enemies of Islam. So naming your children, you should name them Al-Hassan. You should name them Al-Hussein. You should name them Abu Bakr. You should
Nara
name them
Takbir! Nara Risalah!
So, radiyallahu anhum ajma'een. With regard to Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam, his fada'il, his virtues are so many that we can sit all night informally, not in a formal gathering like this, and talk about Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam till the Fajr time. He, in the Muqaddimah of the Sunan of Ad-Darimi, and the book of Al-Imam Ad-Darimi is considered one of the authentic books of Hadith. Some people placed it in place of the Sunan of Ibn Majah, they placed the Sunan of Ad-Darimi. The only reason why it is not included in what they call Sihah Sitta, the 6 authentic books, is because it contains many reports from companions and tabi'een, successors. It is mentioned in there that there is not one day except 70,000 angels descend upon the grave of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, rub their wings on the blessed grave and leave. And they do not have this opportunity for a second time. This report is found in the Muqaddimah of the Sunan of Ad-Darimi, and it is given the rank of marfu' hadith, meaning it is something relating to ilmul ghayb, something of the unseen. When a companion relates something of this nature, it is given the ruling of a marfu' hadith, meaning it is from Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam. This is something which ma akram Allah ta'ala nabiyahu ba'da wafatihi, that thing which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ennobled his Prophet sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam with something after he passed away. With regard to this, Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam, when he will descend at the end of times, as narrated by Al-Imam Abu Ya'la in his Musnad, and narrated by Imam Al-Hakim in Al-Mustadrak, that when Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will descend at the end of times, again, the knowledge of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam was such that he described these events. He said, sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam, that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will descend as a just ruler. And this is obviously after the killing of Ad-Dajjal and after the appearance of Ya'juj and Ma'juj, the 2 tribes. They will be killed by a worm which will go into their necks after the dua of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam. Because the companions of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will hide out in the mount of Tur, Jabal al-Tur, on the top of Jabal al-Tur. And they will be surrounded by Ya'juj and Ma'juj. And Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam will do dua against them. And a worm will go into their necks and they will die. The next days, the Muslims will send someone to check if they have passed away or what has happened regarding them. And the man will go down, risking his own life, and he will realize that they are dead, and their bodies will give out a stench. So then Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will do dua again, and rain will be sent, and the earth will be cleansed. After this incident, and after this precise description by Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam, it mentions that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salatu wasalam will descend, going to Al-Hajj wal-Umrah, both, because both are performed together. He will be going to Al-Hajj wal-Umrah in the state of Ihram, wearing the 2 sheets, the 2 white sheets. And he will descend, go down through some valleys, until he will reach Al-Madinatul Munawwarah. When he will reach Al-Madinatul Munawwarah, he will go to Al-Muwajahatul Sharifa, which is the blessed place where the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam is buried. And he would say, As-salamu alayka ya Rasulullah. And Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam will reply, Wa alayka as-salam ya Ruh Allah.
Allahu Akbar.
Again, note a few things. Firstly, doing ziyarah of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa sallam in Al-Madinatul Munawwarah is something mashru', legislated. And this is why Al-Imam Taqiyuddin al-Subki rahimahullah ta'ala wrote his book Shifa al-Siqam. And this is why Imam Yusuf al-Nabahani rahimahullah ta'ala wrote his book Shawahid al-Haq. These are books on showing that visiting Rasulullah alayhi salatu wasalam is legislated. And this is why even Abu Hasanat Abdul Hayy al-Laknawi wrote many epistles refuting Nawab Sadiq Hassan Khan regarding the ziyarah of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wasallam. And the hadith, Man zara qabri wajabat lahu shafa'ati, which is narrated in the Sunan of Ad-Darqutni, some people have weakened it. Others have said it is forged, like Ibn Taymiyyah, he said it is forged. But the correct ruling on the hadith is that it is not forged, it is hasan. It is acceptable, as narrated by those ulama which I have mentioned. They have mentioned that the grading is hasan, and any time any ulama differ over the grading of a hadith, if you have reliable huffaz al-hadith, memorizers of hadith, grading a hadith authentic, or grading a hadith as hasan, then we are allowed to accept that hadith also. You can follow them. Like for instance, the hadith narrated by Ibn Abi Shayba in his Musannaf. You'll find this book in the Kitab Fadaili Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. In the time of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, there was a drought, and people suffered from the drought, and a man went to the blessed grave of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Even though I do not like using the word grave, in English it has different connotations. The blessed garden of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And when he went, this man, he made rain prayer at the blessed garden of the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, saying, Ya Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, istasqi li ummati. Ya Rasulullah, make rain prayer for your nation. فَإِنَّهُمْ قَدْ هَلَكُوا, that they have perished. And when he made this dua, the man who narrated this narration, Malik ad-Dar, who was the treasurer of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, and they even disputed, Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala al-Isaba fi Tamyiz al-Sahaba said that they even disputed whether this man was a companion or a successor. Meaning there was a possibility that he was also a companion. He states that he fell asleep and he saw the Messenger sallallahu alayhi wa sallam come to him in his dream, ordering him to go to Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu and tell Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu that he must make the rain prayer and he must be intelligent. He must be intelligent, he must be intelligent. The man woke up, Sayyidina Malik ad-Dar radiyallahu anhu, and he went and told Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu. And this is what made Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu make the rain prayer, as narrated by Imam Bukhari in Kitab al-Istisqa, in the book of the rain prayer. And Imam Jalaluddin al-Suyuti rahimahullah ta'ala in Tarikh al-Khulafa mentions under the bab, the chapter of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that when they went to make the rain prayer, Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu took the cloak of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam also to make the rain prayer. And this is mentioned by Ibn Sa'd in his Tabaqat in the year 17, because the year 17 in the caliphate of Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu was Amur Ramada. Amur Ramada was the year of drought, and people suffered from such a drought that animals were dying. And Sayyidina Umar radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, this is why in Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya of Ibn Kathir, the narration of Bilal radiyallahu ta'ala anhu slaughtering the sheep, finding that there was no meat on the sheep, he said, Ya Muhammadan sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. In Al-Bidayah wa Nihaya, by the way, the narration of Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shayba is Ibn Kathir, Al-Hafidh Ibn Kathir states that the narration is authentic. And in Fath al-Bari of Ibn Hajar al-Asqalani rahimahullah ta'ala, Ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala mentioned that the narration in the Musannaf of Ibn Abi Shayba is an authentic narration. This is sufficient for Ahl Sunnati wa Jama'ah that this narration has been authenticated by the major memorizers of hadith. Some of them disputed this. Some of the Najdiyah movement within Birmingham, they disputed this fact. They disputed this fact, and when they disputed this fact, they mentioned that Al-A'mash, is everyone paying attention? Okay, everyone at the back. I want to hear your voices. Okay. Don't let these side noises distract you. They mentioned that the narration of hadith is narrated by Al-A'mash. Al-A'mash is one of the famous narrators of hadith. And with regard to Al-A'mash, they said he does tadlis. Tadlis is covering things up. And this is a cause of making the hadith weak. When they mentioned this, without going into too much detail, we responded to them that firstly they claimed that Malik ad-Dar radiallahu ta'ala an is majhul, he's unknown, people do not know him, so the hadith is weak. We replied to this. Then they said Al-A'mash is weak because he does tadlis. We replied to this. But in reality, even though the reply is still with me, we still have that reply. They put the written response on the internet. Those of you who are familiar will know what I'm referring to. The answer we have with us, but it is sufficient for us, Ahl Sunnati wal Jama'ah, that Al-Hafidh Ibn Hajar rahimahullah ta'ala authenticated the narration. Is that authentic enough for us? In Fathul Bari, which word? Fathul Bari, don't fear in saying the word wrong. Fathul Bari, which is a commentary of the Sahih of Imam al-Bukhari. Now, you know the verse of Al-Quran al-Kareem, وَلَوْ أَنَّهُمْ إِذْ ظَلَمُوا أَنفُسَهُمْ جَاءُوكَ فَاسْتَغْفِرُوا اللَّهَ وَاسْتَغْفَرَ لَهُمُ الرَّسُولُ لَوَجَدُوا اللَّهَ تَوَّابًا رَحِيمًا. This verse in Surah An-Nisa. Under this verse in the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, and you'll find this in other tafasir also, the narration of Al-Utbi is mentioned by those mufassirin, those commentators on Al-Quran al-Kareem. The narration of Al-Utbi is that he was sitting near the blessed garden of the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam, where the Messenger sallallahu alaihi wasallam is buried. And he states that a Bedouin came and he implored Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, reciting this verse, saying that I am a sinful person and I have come to your blessed presence in order that you ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He may forgive my sins. And he recited this verse. And Utbi states that after this verse was recited, he fell asleep. He fell asleep. And he saw Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam to inform the Bedouin that his sins have been forgiven. The Bedouin went there, at the time of going there, he recited a verse of poetry. He said, يا خير من دفنت في الأرض, and in another version, يا خير من دفنت في القاع أعظمه فطاب بطيبهن الأرض والأكم نفسي الفداء لقبر أنت ساكن فيه وفيه العفاف وفيه الجود والكرم. This is the full poem. What does this mean? Oh, best of remains under the depths of the earth have become pure the depths of the earth and the outer layers of the earth with your remains or with your body have become pure. The word remains has different connotation. You're with your blessed body. And my soul is a ransom for the grave that you are residing in. In that grave there is forgiveness. In that grave there is benevolence. In that grave there is generosity.